I had to jump on and get this message out because it is in my body. I just need to plug this charger up though. Because I need to charge my phone. All right. I'm going to go ahead. I hope you guys are having a great afternoon. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm not on mute because that's a new thing that I'm learning. I didn't know that you can I didn't know that you can mute yourself on live, okay? So give me a second here. I am trying to get into the chat. I'm trying to get into the chat. Okay. Okay. How are we doing this? Okay. All right, y'all. I needed to go on and get this message done because it's in my body. Okay. All right, y'all. Oop, let me mute myself. Yeah, I just need to be able to see the chat. Okay. So I was outside in meditation, drinking coffee, talking to Kelley and just talking about the energy that I've been feeling within the past 24 hours. Just immense. It was just this wave, this overwhelming wave of love. And as I was outside sitting in nature, the trees, the birds, I've been doing body work for over a year, and I was able to connect how I had just recently released from even coming back online, energy that I was keeping in my shoulder of fear and doubt, or fear was showing up in the sense of doubting myself, right? So a lot of people are walking around with shoulders up energetically that you are not even aware. You may not even be aware of the last time that you allowed yourself to breathe deeply, right? To maybe give yourself the space that you need to forgive, to connect that maybe there's something that you're holding on to that you doubt within yourself, you doubt within a situation. Or maybe that situation made you doubt yourself. Or maybe the way that your life is playing out right now, right? The way that your life is playing out right now, maybe because of a past loop that's playing, right? You no longer have confidence in yourself. So, welcome to the Quasi era. The Quasi era is where you have access to your bioelectrical field. That is your electrical spark, okay? Your intention in which you send things out in. And then that's your masculine aspect of yourself, as well as your magnetic part of yourself, what you pull to, okay? AKA your emotions. The electrical part will be your thoughts, your thinking, your loops in your mind. Your feminine side is going to be the way you process your emotions. You use your intuition and your creativity. That is going to be considered what you call yin energy. Masculine energy is yang energy. So let's do yin and yang pull, okay? The message is simple. Put your shoulders down. Let go of the doubt. You no longer have to doubt yourself. There was an unexpected storm that popped up that may have revealed some truth to you. Okay? Yep. Okay, and If these are coming out in reverse, please forgive me. I have not figured out the settings yet to reverse them, so I do apologize about that. But it says storm and unexpected confusion. This is a Neptune energy that we've been talking about, okay? There is an energy showing up where self-love is absolutely the position that you need to take. And we're not just talking about self-love, right, where you get accolades, right? This is self-love coming in from a real place of empowerment, where you understand that it is in your imperfection that you find your perfection. It is in your wounds, it is in your disappointments, it is in your doubt that you can find the perfect parts of you. Have you ever been through an experience that you didn't know how you were going to get through that experience, but once you made it to the other side, you didn't even know you had that type of strength in you? This is not the season for you to doubt. This is a season for you to take the lesson from whatever unexpected storm that has come your way, whatever confusion that is now clear, whatever illusions that you no longer look at with a rose-colored glass, sunglasses, right? Whether that's you viewing love, when really what love was you seeking acceptance, right? Because you were taught as a child, the only way for me to get love is for me to do things, right, where I'm applauded. Or the only way for me to receive love is by me buying or giving gifts, right? So love becomes transactional, right? So the only way that you can receive love is by you first giving something. Love has nothing to do with you giving something to anyone first without giving it to yourself. So whether that is acceptance, you first give acceptance to yourself. Whether that's getting rid of guilt trips where you're replaying mistakes that you've made in the past, right? Or decisions that you've made in the past. Can I just tell you something about this quasi era? In this quasi era, you're going to have to learn how to view illusion. Let me see if I can show you something really quickly here. It's important for you to learn how to view illusion, okay? It's important for you to learn how to view illusion. Love are things that you attach to love. Success are things that you attach to success are going to have to be reevaluated in this era, especially around any unexpected storm that has bringing clarity, where you've now gained a sense of self, where you're remembering who you truly are. This is not about possession. This is not even about ownership, because when it comes to your soul, no one can really, truly, fully possess your soul unless you give them the power to. And no one really have ownership of your soul. Your soul has the freedom, which really reminds me of the card, the Eight of Swords, right? Where you have a form of self-imprisonment that you don't even understand that you have the knife in your hand to cut yourself free. It is time to put your shoulders down and let go of the doubt. Stop trying to figure out how it's going to happen and just know it's going to happen. Whether that's healing, whether that's finances, whether that's a move, a physical move that you need to make, whether that's accepting who you truly are, okay? Whatever that is, whatever storm came in and had you to put those glasses down where you can now see clearly, color clearly, right? The green grass no longer have a hue of pink in it. It's no longer crimson. You can see it fully vibrating as the color green, which means someone else's opinions or someone else's validations or someone else's trajectory or someone else's life goal or life path for you doesn't have to be yours. It doesn't have to be yours. Put your shoulders down. The doubt that you've been carrying can be a buildup of other people's projection towards you that you've now owned as your own. All we have to do is remember. That's all we have to do. But remembering does not come without some form of pain. Unfortunately, not in this round. Right? And the pain that you feel is usually just that electrical spark. Think about it, right? Have you ever tried to touch a live wire? You can't because you can get electrocuted, right? So if you think about the electrical charge, do you know that you actually carry voltage within your body? We can actually test your electrical voltage. You actually can touch something and light up a camera. Have you ever had the experience where you touch someone and then you see an electrical spark? You shock them or they shock you? Have you ever gotten to a part within your meditation or within your chanting where you start to affect electronics? Have you ever gotten to a part within your path and your walk where you can begin to see literally electrical charges in the atmosphere through the gases? You are an electrical magnetic being. Your soul is pure and just wants to evolve and explore, right? But it's been bogged down and limited by a lot of things that were not true. And it's not about blaming anyone in this time. It's not. We've done that for a long time. And even the blaming process was part of the journey and the evolution, right? You needed that process. You needed that process. Just like you needed the process of whatever storm or whatever pain to trigger you to go within self, to trigger you to see past illusions and to see clearly through confusions. And this doesn't really happen unless someone you loved, someone you admired, someone you gave reverence to, or someone you put on a pedestal, or someone you even had expectations for. Your expectations for how someone else's soul should express themselves. So really the pain is more about the disappointment, right? Your disappointment. When you begin to understand that your disappointments is what leads you to go within so you can really see the sun. And I don't even know how much you have gotten to the point where you've been able to see the black sun in your meditation, right? You can see the sun. And when you go within, you gain your strength and you gain your empowerment. And the places of you maybe where guilt once, resided, and maybe where it held in the pit of your stomach, right? Or maybe even your lowest chakra, the root chakra. So you're walking around with this pain that's just radiating through the root chakra, your lower back. And then from your lower back, it's stemming all the way up to your shoulders and your neck. That doubt that you've been holding on for so long that you're never going to, let's say, buy the house, or you're never going to have the child, or you're never going to get married, or the bullshit that they were pushing years ago that, women, hit the wall. What the fuck is a wall? The only wall that you hit is the wall that you can hit mentally and emotionally, which is just going to produce an action or a reaction, whether it's limited or expansive, which is going to produce a result. Okay? This is not about blaming. This is just about accepting that the world, everybody, is going through something. Everybody is fucked up on one level or another. Everybody or every soul, let's just say every original soul, right? Or every real organic soul is here just trying to evolve. So when someone hurts you, that person is really just rubbing up against the parts of you that you have not given light to. The parts of you that your ego may be protecting, maybe it's using doubt to protect you. Maybe it's using, and I don't know why this is coming out, but sexual promiscuity to protect you. Which leads me into sometimes people put the label of love on sex, and sex has nothing to do with love. Sex is just an energy of exchange, and you make babies not just with the energy of sex, where you make physical baby, but you make emotional babies, mental babies that can live on long after your relationship with that person has ended. The mental energy is saying there's been a storm. There's been a storm where you've had to reevaluate the way you think. Where you've had to start seeing strength not based on your external circumstances, because shit, your external circumstances look like, if you really gave in to them, why the fuck am I even here? Why the fuck am I here? If it's all peace, love, and light, why the fuck am I going through things like this when I've been peace, loving, and light? You know, why am I? Then you go into the why. The why me. The why you is because your soul has chosen to evolve. And sometimes what happens is we stay in situations longer than we need to. And the pain is our soul saying it's time to move on. It's time to expand. It's time to let go. It's time to put your shoulders down. It's time to stop doubting yourself. Because you are enough. Because you have enough. Right now in this moment, whether your external circumstances does not reflect it, you are enough and you have enough. And until you can get in that coherent way where what you feel and what you say and think aligns, then all you're going to be seeing is confusion of chaos in your outer world, because you can sit and have a conversation, a positive one. Yes, peace, love, and light, ashe, king, queen, You can do all of the spiritual pleasantries, but if you're not doing the fucking work, then you are going to see confusion. This is not about judgment, but it sure as hell ain't about pretending no more. We can't pretend no more. We can't pretend no more. Unity consciousness is the way that we're going to evolve, and unity consciousness starts within, recognizing that there's a balance that needs to come from within. First, a balance to gain the mental stability that is needed to know that how many storms have you weathered that you've gotten past. Okay, so let me tell you how I'm looking at this shit right now. And here would be really good where I could just give y'all a story, because I don't know who this message is for, but I need to get out my body because I am tired of holding on to these messages and having these pain stuck in my body. So whoever this is for, my intention is that it reaches you and it hits you in the space within your field that needs the healing. This is a time of healing. And the healing doesn't come from you having to do anything but recognize that you are the healed. Do you know that your body has everything it takes to heal itself? Do you know your body's over 70% water? And do you know that you can speak to water and water adheres to what you say? So if I asked you, right, what do you think is faster? Do you think the speed of light is faster than sound, or do you think sound is faster than the speed of light? What do you think is faster? Now, most people on the base, maybe on the upbringing, or the culture, or the system that we were raised in, the religious texts, or maybe even the scientific testing is going to tell us that the speed of light is faster. But can I tell you that that is not true? The speed of light is not faster. The speed of light is confirmation of the vibration that you're on. Let me explain this to you. Let's take the Bible, for example, because I grew up Christian, right? In the Bible, it said, and God said, let there be light, right? Light was not until God said. And the point I'm trying to make is, what are you saying to yourself mentally that you're fueling emotionally that caused the confusion and illusions in the first place? What part of your childhood, what part of your disappointments from that past relationship, what part of your disappointment from the expectations that you set for a particular situation, person, or thing that you now have to take ownership for? It's time to put your shoulders down. It's time to let go of the doubt. It's time to stop looking at storms as things that's here to crush you. Quick story time. I recently moved within the past 4 months. And prior to me moving, I went from a beautiful house with a lake to an apartment with a nice backyard. I had a beautiful backyard where I was planted by a lot of pine trees. And there was a lot of wisdom because, pine trees represent the pineal gland. The cone represents the pineal gland. And if I look back at that experience and I look back at the time that I spent at that particular location, there was so much wisdom coming through. There was so much knowledge coming through. There was some, although I was taking so much body hits, and when I say body hits, I'm not talking about physical abuse. I'm talking about energetically. Because when you're the most positive person in the situation and you're dealing with a toxic or narcissist situation, right? What you do is you don't give so much of yourself. You stop trying to argue. So because you're not arguing, right? You're putting up a wall energetically, right? But your energy is still being siphoned because although you may not be engaging with words, you're engaging with your ears. You're engaging with your time. You're engaging with your money. Right? These are the things we need to take accountability for. I mean, this ain't about being beaten up on yourself. This is about doubting yourself. Right? So mentally, no more doubting. You can see clearly now. And if you can't see clearly, it's time to be real. It's time to take off these glasses and look at the part that you've played. Look at the decision that you've made. Right? So I go from that experience to this experience, right? Now, when I moved into this apartment that had all of these pine trees, there was not a lot of sunlight coming into this place. It was very dark. It was really hard to keep my plants alive in that place because there was not a lot of sunlight. At least not on the part of the house where I spent most of my time. So my kids got all of the sunlight. So their bedrooms were at the front of the apartment complex where all of the sunlight came in. Okay. So I would get some sunlight as the sun is setting, but at that point, the sun is not at its peak. At that point, I have all of these beautiful pine trees, so the sun is not really getting in. It was really like I was placed in an incubation, right? Or this is what I would say, because everything, when you look at it, can appear symbolic. So look at where you are right now in your experience, right? So once the rug was pulled from under me, I remember sitting in that space and just connecting like, wow, okay, I knew this place was dark when but now that I'm going through what I'm going through, the darkness where the sun is not even coming into the house is now taking on a whole new meaning, right? It's not taking on a whole new meaning. But what was going on with me at that particular time, although I was hurting, although I felt like I was broken into a million pieces, although my reality changed literally in front of my eyes, although I had these 4 women holding me up on the days when I didn't have words, and I didn't have words for 2 months, there was still a voice within me to let me know, you're going to get to the other side of this, but you're going to have to feel it. I remember sitting on the floor in my room, on my knees, just crying. Just crying. I don't understand. All I did was love. I don't understand why they would do this. All I did was love. And Kelley Kells and my mother and Danielle and LaTanya that are holding me up or reminding me, you didn't do anything wrong. All you did was love. But you also was loving somebody that wasn't really loving you back. They were pretending. Do you remember when this happened and when this was said? Do you remember when we had this conversation? And do you remember when we had that conversation? And as I said, yes. Okay, friend. Okay, daughter. That was a sign. That was an illusion. That was you in the love bubble with the rose-colored glasses on. And it's okay because you learn lessons here, right? Sometimes you need to create an illusion for you to be able to get through the confusion. Let me say that again. Sometimes you're going to need to create an illusion to get through the confusion. Let me explain how this works. See, in that dark space in that apartment, I didn't know how I was going to buy groceries. I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. I didn't know how I was going to pay my son's tuition for school. Right? I thought because I operated in love and kindness and fairness and integrity, this person was going to operate in kindness, love, fairness, and integrity. That's what I thought. Right? Seeing through rose-colored glasses when this person was already exhibiting examples of themselves, not so much about how they treated me, but how they explained to me they treated other people. But here goes the empath, right? I can see why you would have treated that person like that, because after the story you told me happened to you at 3 years old, and then at 12, I recognize myself in the areas of your wounds. I can support your healing. So these are things that I had to face on my knees, on the floor, was the areas of myself that I was looking externally, trying to heal somebody else, instead of understanding that really, if I was paying attention without rose-colored glasses, I would see that that person was reflecting that aspects of myself that I needed to heal and work on. I knew that that was an assignment. I did. And I would say it all of the time. Oh, this is my assignment. Because I truly believe anyone that comes into my life, you're not here by mistake. So mentally, a storm came in. And emotionally, the energy was definitely, you allowed something externally to validate who you are, to fuel your confidence, right? So whether it's a person, whether it's a job, right? Whether it's things, the house, right? The car, the accolades from the job. Something external was fueling your confidence. So when that storm came in, and that confidence was taken away through that external source, right? The real truth exposed itself, which was doubt. The real truth exposed itself, which was, you've been walking around all of this time with your shoulders up, really not with your shoulders down. You really weren't relaxed and supported in this situation, right? Because your body has been indicating to you for a while, alert, alert, alert. No. You might think, oh, I work too hard. Oh, I'm picking up on other people's energy, Oh, I need more sleep. But your body's really cluing you in on an indication that we need to pay attention to what's going on within us. Look at what that person just said. You told them this in confidence, and now they're using it to manipulate you, to get you to move or do or operate in a way that they want the outcome to be. Right? No more confusion. You have Pluto showing up and saying transformation is here. And the transformation is really just you being an observant, being aware. I'm going to tell you something about change. Change does not come in because you physically get up or emotionally or mentally get up to do something. The first step of change happens when you acknowledge that change is needed. That's it. See, this is how a person that can wake up on January 1st and say, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to go to the gym every day. Right? That's their New Year's resolution. And they'll go to gym for the first maybe month or two, maybe even buy a membership. After the first month or two, they're, maybe it's raining for 2 days, 3 days in a row. So they decide they're not going out in the rain or the snow or whatever. And that 2 or 3 day break changes the whole schedule for them because it was something surface. Versus a person that looks at themselves in the mirror and they're ready to do something about the extra weight that they have on. They're ready to do something because they don't like the way they feel. Or they don't like the way they look in their clothes. That's doing something because they're really ready. So you see, that person is going to get up and go to the gym no matter if it's raining, snowing, sleet. It don't fucking matter. And if they can't get up and go outside to go to the gym, guess what? They're going to work out in the house. If they're in an apartment building, they're going up and down them steps 10 times. They may not be able to go for an hour today because of the weather, but they're going to get that 30 minutes in, put on that YouTube video, use that chair in the living room as a fucking workout bench. Put your shoulders down. Let go of the doubt. This don't have to be done the way everybody says it has to be done. You don't got to beat yourself up because you didn't go to college, and everybody that go to college can apply for. And let me just tell you this, and this is where I am going to use my friend as an example because she said I could. So I'm going to use her experience to help whoever this message is going to help. My girlfriend, LaTanya, is an amazing woman. She did not get her GED until she was a grown woman. She did not go back to school and get her master's until her kids was in college. She has overcome so much, y'all. And you know what she's working on? Accepting herself. You see, what she's been working on, instead of finding external projects to work on, is working on herself. We just sat here yesterday and had an amazing conversation with my notes that I still have not brought downstairs, y'all. Because this was not the original live of the message that I wanted to give that on. Holding on to guilt is not going to help you in this season. What is the lesson from the guilt? What's the lesson? What is the guilt trying to show you? Is the guilt trying to show you maybe that you overextend yourself and you promise people things that you know you can't fit in your fucking schedule? You know you can't fit this in your schedule. Or you know you don't have the money. Or you know you don't have the mental energy. It's time for you to stop transferring energy and start transmuting energy. And I'm going to teach you the difference. Transferring energy is when you wake up in a bad mood. You go into the grocery store, and because you're in a bad mood, you think it's okay to be nasty to the person next to you, behind you, to be aggressive or passive aggressive. That's a transfer of energy. You wake up in the morning and you're in a stinky mood, so you're having a nasty attitude with your husband. You can't blame that shit on PMS. An emotionally intelligent person understands that they're going to PMS, so you're going to try to maybe take the vitamins to increase the calcium level in your body, or, woosah before you respond. You don't get to blow up on somebody and transfer energy and say, oh, my period is coming. Right? We don't give men passes when they have a nasty attitude towards us. So, we got to own our shit too as women, right? You are responsible for your own emotional and mental regulation and balance and vibration and frequency. You're responsible for that, not nobody else. You. And the minute that you give somebody else the responsibility for that, you are now a puppet. Right? Because if they say, okay, today I want you to be angry, and they poke you because they know what to say, because they know what to do, guess what? You're going to be angry for the rest of the day. You're going to walk into that supermarket and transfer that energy to somebody else. You're going to walk into that job and you're going to transfer that energy to somebody else. So a lot of times you're at the job and you're in the stores and you're out in public and you're dealing with energy that don't got shit to do with you. How you transmute the energies by recognizing, okay, I'm in the mood today. And I love Kelly Kells for this because when she's in the mood, she'll tell you, girl, I don't got it today. I'm finna shut it down. Okay? That's what we do when we recognize our energy is off. We do not pull people in when our energy is off. Even with each other, we have to go off and balance that out some things so we can come back and unpack it. But there's some days when we don't got energy even for each other, and we talk all day, every day. And some days we just don't got it for each other. Some days we just don't. It's okay for you to recognize that you don't and won't have it for everybody at every single time of the day until you realize who you are. You see, because when you realize who you are, then you can do things with balance and moderation. Then you don't have to overextend yourself. Then you don't have to do things out of guilt. Then you don't have to overpromise. Then you don't have to use the word love when shit don't got nothing to do with love. When you don't got to lie in God. When you don't got to blame your mama. When you don't got to blame your ex-husband, your ex-lover, your ex-friend. This is the way that you're going to have to move through this energy in this era. People are not going to always want to do the work. A majority of the collective, are baby souls. They don't want to do the work. Transmuting the energy means you being able to regulate your emotions and regulate that a lot of times what you think of your emotions may not even have anything to do with you. Let me explain how that can happen. Have you ever walked into a room and you were feeling excited and happy before you entered the room, and as soon as you entered the room, the whole vibration within your being just shifted? You can't explain it, right? It's just a feeling. And sometimes you can't even give a name or word to the feeling. It just feels like, ugh. Right? You ever felt happy and alive before going to an event, a cookout, a barbecue, a party, and by the time you get home, you tired as hell, and you just had all this energy before even showing up at the event? That's you learning how to read energy. You may not have the words, but that's an indication that you can read energy. That's an indication that that wasn't your shit. You felt it. You may not have necessarily known it wasn't your shit, but you felt it. And you know the difference between you walking into that place and the difference in the feeling of you walking out of that place. These are things you're going to have to learn and master. You don't got to have titles and words for them, because I'm going to tell you something else. A lot of what's going to be unfolding in this quasi era, you're not going to be able to find books because they were destroyed. Books are going to have to be written. People like you and me that are gifted and has access to information that is within your DNA, encoded for you to bring on alignment to the masses. This time is what's happening. Nothing is happening here by coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidence. There's only synchronicity, because everything is vibration and frequency and energy. Everything. You don't got to believe me. Go look it up. Everything I tell you, go research it. Everything I tell you, you can go research it. The biggest vibrational source that you have in your body is your heart space, your heart chakra. This is why the emphasis on love from no matter what channeler or what spiritual person is out here right now, if they are teaching division, fucking run. Run. Anybody that's teaching division right now, I don't care. Run. That is not the frequency for you to hone in on. Focusing on division is only going to create more division. And it's not just an external division that's happening. As the macro, so the micro. So if you are focusing on division outside of yourself, what the fuck do you think is going on inside of yourself? And these are conversations that I be having with myself. So really and truly, this transmission and this message that's coming on right now, maybe it's even for my future self. Maybe it's even for my future self. Maybe it's for your future self. Yourself that may not be here right now, but maybe next week, you'll be here. Maybe right now you on your knees crying out and you not here where I am right now, but you'll be here. Transitioned out of that dark apartment, and now I'm living in a beautiful townhouse. And let me tell y'all, the sunlight that shines through my bedroom is like opposite of what was shining through my bedroom a year ago. I don't have to turn on lights in my bedroom until the sun actually goes down. Even at dusk, I can still walk in that room and don't have to turn on a light bulb. At 12 noon in that old space, I still had to use a light. And you know what that represented? That represents the parts of me that was ignited and lit and hidden that I didn't see. I could not get to the space where I am now without seeing it. And even in that dark place, that still voice in me and those women that helped me up reminded me. And I'll be a fucking lie to sit here and tell y'all like every day I woke up and, and it was like, oh, I'm so happy and thank you and I can't wait. And hell no. I would have to get my ass up, go walk outside in the daggone with the trees and just say thank you with tears in my eyes. I know what it looks like right now, but I thank you. I thank you. I can't wait till I get to the other side of this. I don't fucking know I'm going to get to the other side of this, but I thank you. I thank you for the lesson. I may not be able to understand it all now. It hurts right now, but I thank you. In that space, through those tears, there was a level of worthiness and self-love that I've now stepped into. I can't make this shit up. Your strength and your empowerment in this energy is going to come from self-care and self-love. And self-care and self-love has nothing so much to do with you just going to get a manicure and getting your hair done. Have you manicured your inner being? When is the last time you did your hair with your inner being? When is the last time you really raked your finger through your hair, your head, your thinking, your thoughts within your inner being? When is the last time you really looked in the mirror and acknowledged that you are love? You don't gotta look for love, that you are enough, that you are valid. You don't gotta know everything. You don't gotta be the best at everything, but what you know, what you're the best at, you're the best at, and that's good enough. Do you know how powerful walking into a room when you recognize and you understand who you are, that you can shift the fucking energy in the room just by knowing who you are, that you're enough? And I'm speaking from experience. I'm not, and this is the thing. And this experience is not coming from me just reading a fucking book. This experience is coming from me having to walk through it. The only way for you to get to the other side of anything is to walk through it. And you can't get there sitting in confusion and illusion and blaming other people for decisions that you made. Whether it's decisions to accept the lie that you weren't good enough. You had to overperform. You had to commit yourself to projects that wasn't even your fucking project to be accepted. Here is where you get to be honest with yourself and ask yourself how much external things are fueling who you truly are. How much external things? You know, when I started this channel, I used to fear the responsibility of having to help so much people. Now I understand that my only responsibility is showing up and sharing. Man, I used to call myself a healer. I'm not even a healer. I'm a guide. You heal yourself. I can lead you to the path of where healing occurs. You come in for a Reiki session and I do the energetic work and you feel so good after the Reiki session and you feel so good for a couple of days. But if you do not accept the healing within yourself after a couple of days, that energy wears off and you're back to the same place before you came and saw me. Take responsibility. Take responsibility for whatever shame you've been walking around with. So what, you had your first child at 16. So what, that marriage didn't work. So what, you was in a relationship with a narcissist and you don't even understand how a person like you can even get with a person like that because of who you are. So what, you lost that job that you identified with that you no longer identify with because really and truly, you had to fucking talk yourself to getting up every day and going into that building anyway. When is the last time you listened to your spirit that was calling you to do something else? Maybe to get in the kitchen and mix them herbs. Maybe to sit your ass down and start writing the outline to that book. Maybe to start your YouTube channel. Shit, for me was maybe to get back online. For me, it was to get back online and start speaking my truths to other people, even if it was just the future me can remember who I am. The illusions is a mistake you're just meant to go back and take what you've missed. Reverse the words. There's two words in mistake: miss and take. So stop thinking of your mistakes, right, as failures, and start thinking of your mistakes as opportunities for you to go back and take the things that you've missed and you just simply apply them the next time around. That's it. Anybody that's keeping track of your life more than you keep track of your life, that's a problem. Anybody whose opinion is more valid to you about you than your opinion about yourself is more valid, that's a problem. Even going through that narcissistic situation that I did for 3.5 years, the one thing that I stood on was my spirituality. My stance was my stance. This part of me is who I am. Right? I can't convert to be this because of love, because then I won't be the woman that you met and fell in love with. That drifted into a beautiful, what I thought was a beautiful friendship that was going to end in a beautiful friendship, right? The parts of you that needs healing, celebrating, uplifting, encouraging, motivating will show up in other people. And it may show up through you being triggered. It may show up through you being hugged. It may show up through you being loved on. Right? Be open to be aware of reading not just other people's energy, but your own, so you are able to distinguish the difference. Put your shoulders down. So what, you fucked it up the last time you tried. So what, you missed a step the last time you tried. So what if you lost everything you had at all? If you got it before, you can get it again. Go back to how many times have you been in a situation where the universe have not just left you out in the cold? Yeah, it may have been uncomfortable. Yeah, you may have learned how to pivot. You may have learned maybe how to be still and sit in your shit for a while, right? But when have you never, ever, ever been okay? Or when have you not taken, or have you not taken the time to see how you have been here before? Whether through the experience came through a broken heart, a lost job, a lost investment. How many times have you overcame? How many times did you didn't know how, when, who, and the how, the when, and the who showed up? You've had enough experience in that, so relax in that. You've had enough experience in that. Man, let me tell you by now, I've had enough experience in life to know that life is going life. You can't be protected and ask for protection. That's like having the patrol officer guarding your door right in front of your door, but still calling 911 and asking them to send somebody because you don't feel safe. Right? Just a silent recognition within is all that's needed for change to be birthed. Stop trying to do so much externally. Sit with yourself. Do you know what happens when your soul begins to acknowledge and remember who you truly are externally to the title of mom, externally to the title of dad, externally to the title of auntie, externally to the title of manager, director, producer? Have you ever just sat with yourself outside of all of those labels, the best friend, the confidant? Have you ever sat without those labels? And feel the vibration from within that has nothing to do or that's not attached to any of the roles that we've assigned to ourselves externally. Our soul just wants to be. And can I just say, your soul is like a child. And right now, the child in you is not asking you for fucking protection. It's asking for love because it's already protected. The protection comes from the awareness that you're no longer who you were. The protection comes from the awareness that that situation hurts you, and here's why. So don't do that again. The protection comes from honoring that this feels uncomfortable, so let me say something. The protection comes from honoring, you know what? I don't feel like having the one to be filling the conversations all of the time. I don't like carrying the conversations. So now when you go into the meetings and everybody's used to you speaking out and having, the guts and the balls to say, rest in not saying shit. Rest in just being. Who are you outside of all of those things? And that part of you needs no title. It needs nobody to pat you on the back and say you're worthy. It needs nobody to come in and hand you a degree to prove and validate who you are, like my girlfriend Tanya felt she needed these validations to be accepted. Especially when somebody that you love use the fact that you doubt yourself in that area, so they use it against you. The part of you that knows that you are not connected to your degree, you're not connected to any title or label. That part of you just knows just being, just showing up and being loving and kind of showing up with a smile, showing up with a kind word, showing up with a disciplined energy to be helpful. Showing up, understanding that you don't have to be a martyr. You got to be no martyr. What you do have to be is your own sun, your universe, your orbit. All of your access points to your nexus points still exist, whether or not somebody likes you, loves you, accepts you, shames you, guilts you. Your soul still exists. Let go of the guilt, the shame, the expectations. Oh, let's not talk about the expectations. Not just the expectations that we have for others, but also the expectations that we hold on ourselves. In parenthood, how many expectations you hold on yourself in parenthood? Even with all of the books written, no one can literally prepare you on what it's like to be a parent or how it feels like when your children hurt you. And every parent can give you an example, or every child can give you an example of how they felt hurt by a parent, but also maybe felt loved, how they felt misunderstood, but maybe also felt seen. If nobody have told you lately that you don't need anything externally to let you know that you are enough, you can put your shoulders down. You don't got to try so hard. You don't got to try. You can just be. You can just be. Just be. You know, and at first being is uncomfortable, right? Sometimes, you know, like when you first start to be, it's uncomfortable. I had a conversation with Kelley the other day, and a situation happened, and instead of me going back and forth with the person, I just went in to my light language and called in the energies that needed to go ahead and correct the situation, because clearly there's nothing for me to do in the physical realm, because if I operate in the physical realm, I'm going to be in my emotions and in my feelings, and I understand that what I give energy to, I grow. That day I opened my door and I looked out of my window. First of all, let me just say, it started upstairs in my bedroom. When I looked at my window, there was at least 15 to 20 beetles, black beetles, just on my window that was not there earlier. Later that day, we opened the door to walk out of the door, and you can see my door was also flooded with beetles. Confirmation and protection is yours to see, and it's yours to have. You don't have to ask, just acknowledge. It's your birthright to be protected, because your soul never dies. It's your birthright. Soul don't die. I don't know who this message was for. Bottom of the deck, and then I'm going to close it out. Be present. Abundance lies in the present moment with gratitude. Just be grateful. Be grateful for all of the pain. Because the opposite of that, and what I've been talking about, and I can't make this shit up, the cards, cards don't lie. There's guilt, self-sabotage. How much times have we self-sabotaged ourselves? How much times have you sabotaged yourself? How much times have you allowed others to sabotage you? How much times have you watched others sabotage themselves? The same freedom and forgiveness that you have extended to others in the past is the same freedom and forgiveness that is important for you to actually give to yourself. Exercise it, embrace it, know it. It's not just about believing it, it's about knowing right now. We're in the era of knowing. In the Quasi era, as you evolve, know that There's something happening not just externally of you, but there's also something happening internally. Your soul is now aware. If you allow it to show you truly who you are, it can begin to. But that first starts with you acknowledging, observing, without judgment. Everybody going through something. Everybody's expressing it in a different way. Everybody's eventually going to get to the place where the lessons that you're now learning that they have not, they will. This is why I always say you don't want to judge somebody else's evolution or journey, because they can surpass you. This is not about judgment. This is about you acknowledging your soul's love of self within. There's no need to pretend to be. There's no need to look externally. I don't care what the fuck is going on in your external world. I don't care who's told you in the past you were not worthy. I don't care who in the past told you that you didn't deserve. I don't care in the past told you you couldn't accomplish something. What I do care is, did you believe them? What I do care is that the conversation that you're having with yourself now, is that the lie that you're now repeating to yourself? That's what I care about. And because I care, I'm going to let you know that you can put your shoulders down and stop doubting. Just be. Everybody made mistakes. Take what you've missed and apply it in the next choice, in the next emotional trigger, in the next doubt that pops up, in the next exchange within your relationship. Let me just say this and then I'm out, okay? Communication is not just about lack of communication. So people just don't break up because of lack of communication. I have misunderstandings because of lack of communication. It doesn't have, like, lack of communication is one component, but there's also what's called effective communication. So you can do all of the communication in the world, but if you are not effectively communicating, so if you throwing a temper tantrum instead of saying, you know what, I don't really like that, or you know what, that hurt my feelings, or you know what, I have to stand up for myself. So if you're throwing temper tantrum instead of effectively communicating your wants, your needs, and your desire, then you can't expect to be heard clearly. But first you got to start from seeing from within. Start seeing yourself. Start seeing yourself, flaws and all. It is in your imperfections that you find your perfection. They are opposite side of the same coin. Your energy is your currency. And if you are not directing the energy from within, someone else is going to direct your energy for you. AKA your emotions tell you what to feel, tell you when to feel, tell you how deep to feel. Or someone is going to be controlling you mentally, telling you what to think, how to think, when to think. Buying real estate up in your mental mind that they don't even pay rent on, because they're not contributing anything but allowing you to sit up in guilt, shame, anxiety, inadequacy, self-sabotage. Come on now. You are the epitome of love, and you don't need to be perfect to be loved, to embrace love, to accept love, to give love, to receive love. Fuck that shit. You are love. Ain't no explanation needed. None. You can now walk into a room and know that you are love. And you don't got to explain it. You don't got to shout it out. You don't got to whisper it. Honey, all you got to do is be. That's it. Try walking into a room, and before you walk into your room, just whisper, I am loved. And walk in that room confidently, just whispering, I am loved to yourself, and watch how you can shift the energy in a room. This is real shit. This is real life. This is how you begin to work your bioelectrical field. Your electrical field is your masculine energy, your thoughts, your thinking. Your the magnetic field of your bioelectrical field is the feminine aspect, your intuition, your creativity, your imagination. And the merging of those two things together is who you truly are. Your soul wants to express itself. And it doesn't label wrong or right. It just label experiences based on your thoughts and on your feelings, because they're going to produce an action, which is going to produce an outcome. So every thought and every emotional decision that you make, it makes a difference. It does. Okay. On that note, I love you. Share this video if you feel like it can help someone. You want to go ahead and do something kind for yourself, okay? Not because you should, all right? Because you really should. And you also want to go ahead and do something kind for someone, not because they deserve it, but also because you can. And the world needs more compassion and real love. And I'm talking about real love, which means that you do not have to look outside of yourself for acceptance, right? So when you do something, it's not to get something in return. It's truly because that is who you are. So when you walk into a room and you smile, it's not to get another smile back, but that's your contribution to the world, your smile. Your energy is your currency, okay? I love you guys much, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video.